Hello Taurus, welcome to my channel. It is my absolute pleasure and such a blessing to be here with you. So thank you so very much for being here with me. In the description box below, you will find links to all sorts of goodies. You will also find a timestamp if you would like to jump to the start of your reading. Please do keep in mind that this is a collective reading, not a personal reading, so only take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If you would like deeper insights to this month, please check out your Sun, Moon, and Rising Tarotscopes. September is a universal 7 month, and 7 is often thought of as the spiritual seeker or wise sage on the quest for deep inner knowledge. This means that it's a time to slow down, to dive deep into self and reflect on your soul's desires and your purpose. Also, to seek divine wisdom in solitude and stillness and allow that to move you. And this is something that we're going to be looking at for the month. So let's dive in and see what's coming through for you. Please, Father, Mother, Life, Universe, Spirits, Guides, Angels, our cosmic team, our ancestors, our higher selves, tell us about the overall theme or overall energy for Taurus for September 2023, please. What is the overall energy or theme? Thank you for Taurus. If Taurus slows down and listens to their souls and God's callings, what might Taurus hear, please? Thank you. How could integrating what Taurus learns help? Okay, thank you. So in that space, we are going to be looking at how could integrating what you learn help to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to your path, purpose, and life. Can we please have some wisdom from Taurus's angels, guides, ancestors, spirit, source, universe, and God that they most want to share with Taurus as they move forward? What wisdom do Taurus's angels, let's try that again, that's kind of a lot. What wisdom, there it is, thank you. I am going to ask for your grace and patience, Taurus. I have a new deck that we're using, but they are circular, and so this is something I'm not used to using, and it's very interesting. So thank you for your grace and patience getting out these cards. Please tell us more about the overall energy for Taurus in September 2023. Okay, thank you. Tell us more about what Taurus will hear. Thank you. Tell us more about how how could integrating what Taurus learns help to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to Taurus's, okay, there it is, thank you. Tell us more about the wisdom Taurus's angels, guides, ancestors, spirit, source, universe, and God most want to share with them as they move forward. The cards have been pretty jumpy like this for this month's Tarotscopes, just coming right out even before I can finish asking the questions. So I'm finding that to be rather interesting. Tell us more, please, about the overall energy for Taurus. Tell us more, please, about the overall energy for Taurus for September 2023. Thank you. Tell us more, please, about if Taurus slows down and listens. Okay, thank you. Tell us more, please, about how could integrating what Taurus learns help them to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to their path, purpose, or life. Okay. Tell us more about the wisdom Taurus's angels, guides, ancestors, Spirit, Source, Universe, and God most want to share? Thank you. And we are going to be using this last deck to get just a couple more messages of wisdom for you. So anything we may have missed or anything else, thank you. All right, let's dive in, Taurus. So the overall energy for you, you have Anna, grandmother of Jesus, coming out first, seeding the light, laying foundations, and divine plan. The first word that comes to mind really is the balance. Like I heard that right away. So I do feel like whatever's going on for you, whatever the energy is bringing in for you this month, Taurus, I feel like it's meant to be bringing in some balance for you, especially around your foundations, your stability. And actually, I just heard like grounding into your light, which, you know, seeding the light, grounding into your light, it's very similar, because I feel like that is, I'm actually seeing it as like a seed in the ground. And for some, there may be even things that are starting to take root, right? But I feel as though this is all to align you with that divine plan. This is all to, I'm actually getting the words like open you up to your potential, to what is possible for you. And again, to really provide some of that firm foundation, that stability for you to build upon as you move forward. And again, you know, slowing down and taking that time to reflect, as you know, the universal 7-month provides, I feel as though it's going to bring you a sense of clarity, which could ultimately allow you to stand strongly in your convictions and what you discover, right? It could really help, again, to just lay these firm foundations for you as you move forward. Yeah, and it's very interesting to me because I'm seeing her arms are open, right? And if you look here in the center, there's this light here. So I feel as though this month could, like I said, could bring to you this clarity. You could be having or experiencing these aha moments, these epiphanies, this kind of breakthrough type of energy, which opens you up to something new. And again, this is, I feel, to align you with your path, with your purpose, but to do so in a way that brings in balance and thereby bringing in this kind of foundation for you. You also have, wow, interesting boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? Perhaps this is where some of these epiphanies or aha moments are coming in, because I feel as though both of the beings on these cards have their arms stretched out. And so it's very interesting to me because I feel as though the more open you are, the more likely you are to see truth, right? Because oftentimes the truth is literally right in front of our faces, but we aren't open enough to see them. We're limited in our perspective. And so again, I do feel like for you, Taurus, throughout this month, you may be getting that clarity as you are more and more introspective, and as you reflect more, get quiet and get still, and perhaps ponder, meditate, pray, journal, you know, these sorts of things. I feel as though the more you do that, I feel the more clarity you're going to be gaining. And interestingly enough, I have this message coming through, which may not all, or may, oh my goodness, sorry, all of you may not resonate with. And that is, I feel that you could find yourself needing, or how would I say, you would find, you may find information coming through that tells you that there are boundaries that need to be created around things that maybe you weren't considering. Okay. And that could simply be because you haven't had the ability to see things clearly, or as clearly as maybe you've needed to. And this, I don't know why, but for some reason, for some of you, this feels like it has something to do with like energetic um, vampires, right? You may be giving your energy to things that you shouldn't be, or that aren't serving you, rather, okay? And I'm not saying that to make you feel some type of way. It is what it is. You don't know what you don't know, right? But I feel as though diving deep within, you are likely to learn, right? You're likely to see. And then at that point, it's like, then you're making a choice, right? But I do feel as though in order for you to truly align with that divine plan, in order to truly find balance, there are going to be decisions that may need to be made where you are choosing where better boundaries are needed. Okay. And this could be, emotionally, mentally, physically. Um, you will know how that resonates with you. All right. Very interesting, though. And yeah, for some of you, I just really feel like actually the words I'm getting are, it's like there's too many hands in the cookie jar. Um, so I feel as though for some of you, there are a lot of energies that are pulling on yours, and, and depleting your energy, and you may not even be aware of this. You may want to do some research on control dramas, and that could give you a better idea of maybe who or what these things are and how it's showing up in your reality. Interesting. You have the sun here coming out as well with life, vitality, and purpose. So like I said, I do feel as though that the things are the things that are taking place are to align you with that purpose, are to better establish you in your true identity. I also feel as though, with this life and vitality energy coming here with the sun, again, it's a nod to where's your energy going, what is sucking the life out of you, as it were. And it feels as though for some of you, um, you you may be needing those boundaries because it's as if you are the sun in someone else's life, and they are just pulling and pulling, like I'm seeing it like kind of like having a straw attached to your energy and are just sucking you dry, right? And again, maybe this is not something you are aware of or have not been aware of. I feel like there are, a good portion of you who may be very surprised at where this is coming from. Once you start to dive deeper, once you start really listening to your intuition and your higher self, once you start gaining that divine wisdom or those epiphanies, I feel as though it may be very surprising where this is happening. Okay, so it seems as though what's taking place for you overall this month is really getting you into alignment with your purpose and sifting through or reanalyzing perhaps the relationships that you have or where you're putting your energy, because I feel like you're being encouraged to direct it towards that balance and toward purpose. Okay, toward the things that are going to invigorate you. You also, wow, yeah, you also have the moon here. So very interesting. I was talking about that balance, right? The sun is the masculine energy and the moon is that feminine energy. So I feel as though this is certainly something about bringing that balance in. In addition to that, the moon is that representation of your intuition and of illusion, right? Maybe where you have been fooled. Okay, so it seems as though there's a big need here to be following your instincts. For some of you, you may be walking a fine line between good and bad. Okay, like you may be right there, like, maybe sometimes you're over a little bit one side over the other, as it were. But again, there is a need to use your discernment and to be very in touch with your intuition and allow it to speak to you, to let you know when you're, traipsing over into a space that is not going to serve you. So again, I feel as though there's a big message here with the moon to be paying attention to where you may be having, actually what I'm hearing is the wool pulled over your eyes. Okay, because I don't know why. I don't know who this is, like who this is about in your experience or what this is about in your experience, but it feels as though that there may be relationships or certain things that you're dumping your energy into, and you may feel as though, or maybe perhaps believed that everything was, you know, good, as it were, for and um yeah, was like an equal exchange, right? You may have felt like you were on level playing, like on a level playing field. And I'm not saying this to, degrade anybody in your experience or insult anybody in your experience, but I feel as though they truly aren't on the same playing field as you, energetically speaking. And I feel like for some of you, should you choose to establish these boundaries, you may find very quickly that things change. Okay, because then I feel like the whole dynamic may shift, and you may experience this person responding, or rather reacting, in a way that's like, oh my gosh, you're taking my son away. Okay, so again, I want to impress upon you the need for discernment, because I feel for some of you there is this, like, it could almost turn obsessive or possessive. Okay, so and this is not something that I get very often, just to be very clear. So, again, be very discerning, and follow your intuition, follow that guidance that you are receiving, and be honest, be very honest with yourself this month. So if you slow down and listen to your soul's callings and God's callings, what might you hear? You have transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. Yeah, so it's very interesting again, as I feel as though you could have been, like I said, in this dynamic, whatever that looks like for you. And all of a sudden, it just, as things start to change and you start to make certain decisions for yourself, you may find, how would I say? Again, you may find the dynamics, pardon me, of those relationships shifting, and I feel like it's because there is this transformation taking place that is in alignment with divine plan and your purpose. And I think I don't know why, but I keep getting this feeling of like people being shocked about something. Now, whether this is you or someone in your experience, I don't know, but it feels as though there's this kind of like, oh my gosh, like shocking kind of energy, because uh, as things change and you find yourself wanting to make different decisions, to take different paths, again, to focus more on yourself, once you kind of see through the illusion, as it were, I feel as though the things are going to shift tremendously. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but it keeps coming through. It keeps coming through. It keeps coming through. Let's see what else you have here. You also have share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution, expression. Yeah, it's very interesting, right? Because yeah, I just really, really feel that for some of you, there's going to be this call to make certain moves and to do certain things in your experience. And perhaps you find yourself pulling away from certain situations or relationships. And for some of you, that transformation that's happening, and I feel like it's that kind of as within, so without. So it may have been taking place within you for some time, and now it's starting to physically manifest, which you may experience as wanting to pull away from certain things or take time to yourself or to follow certain paths that maybe you weren't even considering before. Maybe they weren't even, in your awareness at all. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is what I want to do. I'm moving from the cave or like where you have been stepping outward. And for some of you, I feel like if you experience what we might call persecution from, let's say family, friends, your person, your circle, your community, whatever it is, you know, that could be a very big sign for you to, again, establish those boundaries. Um, I also feel like if you feel as though you cannot authentically and truthfully express yourself, that also may be a sign for you. In addition to that, I feel as though you may be getting that nudge from your higher self, from your soul, from God, saying, hey, this is a time for you to speak very clearly. Now, something I find incredibly fascinating about this, Taurus, is that you, in the body, you are connected with the throat, the vocal cords, right? So when we look at that, it's about expressing your truth. So again, I feel as though this is bringing you back to your truest self. And this is part of what we would call a divine plan. Okay, so those nudges, those urges, those callings are there for a reason. And again, if you get quiet, that is something that you may be hearing very clearly or much more clearly than before. You also have here, Leo, courageous, regal, and loyal. So what's interesting is we have the Sun and Leo energy showing up. You could very well be dealing with a Leo in your experience. But with these energies coming out, both like the Sun is the ruler of Leo, and Leo is connected with that energy of that inner strength, with that conviction, right? Having courage. So I do feel as though this is a call for you to step out of your comfort zone, to be very brave, to dig down deep and to find the strength to do exactly what it is you feel you need to be doing. I feel as though it's very interesting to me that we have this energy of, you may be finding that once you start to express yourself truthfully and start to align, that, persecution kind of energy coming through and that being a sign for you. I find it fascinating because you have that loyal energy here. Because okay, I just heard you find out who your friends are. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this song before. It's a little bit older, and I believe it's a country song, but it's the energy of like you find out who your friends are, and I literally feel as though you may be discovering that for yourself this month. You may be really, really uncovering who is actually supportive, who is actually true, who is actually loyal, and making those distinctions very clearly and creating boundaries in regards to those who are not. Okay? This is incredibly fascinating to me. I mean, also, the synchronicities are just wild because you also have this cat energy or feline energy here. And of course, Leo is the lion. I just find that to be quite synchronistic. But again, if you slow down, I really feel you're going to be getting that nudge to fully embody this transformation that's trying to take place for you, and to be, again, very discerning and sifting through who your friends truly are and who they aren't. You have here as well solstice, focus, transition, and amplification. Now, I mean, I'm kind of shocked. I'm shocked in like the best way, because you have transformation and transition. So I feel as though if you were to slow down and get quiet and listen, I feel as though you would be experiencing or hearing even more about that transition, the courage that it's going to take to do that, how amplified that inner voice may become as you, how would I say, as you listen closely, as you allow information to come through, I feel as though those nudges are going to become more amplified. Actually, I'm seeing it in my mind as a picture of someone like yelling into another person's ear. All right, so I feel like it's going to be very difficult to ignore those nudges, especially as you get quiet, or rather, if you allow yourself to get quiet, slow down, and listen. I also feel as though there's something here about acknowledging the level of focus that it's going to take to transform, and the courage that it's going to take to stay focused, because I do feel as though there could be many things in your experience that may be trying to pull you from that, to yeah, just to kind of pull you away from focusing on the task at hand. Okay, and again, this is going to look different for each of you. It's likely to be showing up differently for all of you, but at the root, it is about the transformation that you are currently going through, the amount of courage and focus it's going to take to kind of sync with your purpose, get into alignment with your purpose, and to create the boundaries necessary to perpetuate that, to keep that ball rolling, if that makes sense. Yeah, you have the Seven of Swords here. This is doing things differently. This is coming clean with yourself, being very honest with yourself. And funny, the moon is there in the picture as well, right? So this is very much about being honest with yourself, being loyal to yourself as well, okay? Because that loyalty does not just extend to those outside of you. Each time that we learn something and learn, or rather learn a truth about ourselves, and we go against that, or we don't follow that, we are dishonoring ourselves. We're betraying ourselves, and through that we teach ourselves that we cannot trust ourselves, which is detrimental to our growth. We have to be able to trust ourselves in order to be discerning, in order to make decisions that are best for us, right? So this is about coming clean with yourself, no longer deceiving yourself, and rethinking how we're moving, right? Changing tactics, changing strategies, and doing what is best for us, or rather for you. Interesting. I want to say that this card showed up in the last reading I had in the same position, only in the reverse. So what's fascinating about this, like, is that you have judgment here showing up as well. Because I feel as though, again, this is about you awakening to your truth. This period of reflection is likely to, it's going to allow you to have this honest assessment of yourself. It is likely to, again, put you in this position where you are like, come to this reckoning, okay? And are reborn. That inner calling, I feel, is going to be far too loud to ignore. And thereby, I feel like it's going to push you to be honest, to be loyal to what you discover there. Yeah, you also have the Eight of Wands in the reverse. Again, this is about slowing down, okay? Slowing down, pausing, waiting. Let this information come through to you, okay? And I feel like this coming out of the cave isn't so much about the action that you do or do not take, right? As far as like a physical movement, I feel like it's less about that and more about bringing out, or bringing rather to the surface from within you, right? The cave being your inner self, bringing that forward through you, but pausing, like reflecting and pausing to really look at the approach that you're taking. to be, again, to be very honest with yourself, to come clean and to rethink how you're moving. It's like, don't just, how do I say this? Let's say you're meditating and you get something that drops into your field and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna boom, do it. No, 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 sweets. That's not how this, that's not how you're being asked to move. I feel as though you're being asked to get quiet, to listen, allow information to come in, and then sit with it. Let it really sink in, right? Be very honest with yourself, and you know and then, so take that long pause, um and then when you feel called to move, do so. Okay, so for example, something I might do is like, I might get something that comes in, and then I won't move on it. Even though I've got that information, I won't move on it. I will ask for, let's say, confirmation, or I will say, okay, well, give me the green light when I'm meant to be moving with this information, right? So it has that vibe to it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's take a look at how could integrating what you learn here help to bring clarity, stability, and or structure to your path, purpose, and life. Yeah, you have trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? So I feel, integrating what you learn as you slow down and listen is going to help you to be able to trust yourself. I feel like it's going to encourage you to continue to build that relationship with yourself where you are honoring your truths, right? Where when that niggle feeling comes in, you're like, okay, right? I feel as though I can move. I know I can trust myself. I know I can trust God because I've listened, right? I've listened here. Yeah, it feels as though you're gonna build that strength within yourself, that ability to trust and honor yourself, to build your discernment, right? And I feel like it truly, when you start trusting your intuition, once you get on that path, as it were, there, for a lot of people, there comes a time where you're trusting God in everything. You're trusting your intuition in everything. You make plans a month in advance. The day comes, your intuition's like, don't you dare go. You're like, okay, I'm not going. Doesn't matter that I've RSVP'd. Doesn't matter that I bought an outfit. Doesn't matter that I've made travel plans. I'm not going. Okay. And I feel like getting to that space where you trust yourself that deeply is going to be imperative for that alignment, that foundation, or rather, let me kind of back up, is it's going to be important for that foundation that you're laying and the balance to get into alignment with your purpose and plan. Because essentially, having that come through to you, you have to trust God and your intuition all the way around, at least in my experience. You also have here fire, radiant, enthusiastic, dynamic. Lots of fiery energy coming through for you here. Yeah, again, you could be dealing with a fire sign, a Leo, certainly, in your experience currently. Okay, so the message that's coming through here with both this trust and niggle feeling and this fire energy, I feel as though that trust that you build is going to allow you to be that much more enthusiastic about life. I feel as though you're going to be glowing because, first of all, if you choose to, and if it resonates, of course, to create these boundaries where you need them, to no longer be letting people's straws just dip into your energy and suck you dry. And if you are, being loyal to yourself, you are trusting yourself, you're building that relationship with yourself, and you're being very truthful, I feel as though that enthusiasm for life is just going to skyrocket. And I feel as though, again, because you're not letting people suck on your energy and drain you, that is going to make you that much more radiant. Like I said, they may be feeling as though you are their sun. right? But once people aren't taking away from that, you're not allowing them to do that, you're just gonna shine that much brighter, right? I'm actually getting, some of you may even be being told that you're glowing, interestingly. So let me tell you just a little bit more about this fire energy. Um, the fire energy is that representation of action and creation, of course, passion and vitality. I'm getting fear coming up here. So some of you may be struggling with some fears around action and what you may be wanting to create or what you're passionate about. It does govern physical energy, and there are qualities connected to it that include things like leadership, your personal power, inspiration, getting things done, your willpower, of course. And, I feel as though there's this deep calling here for you, Taurus, to build your energy, to be assertive and stand up for yourself, stand in your strength, allow yourself to transform, because fire is about transformation as well. So there's lots of that energy coming up here for you. And certainly also very interesting because fire can be about protection as well. So, I feel like that there's a lot coming through here around essentially you standing up for yourself, asserting yourself, creating these boundaries to protect yourself, being building your energy and discovering your true strength as you transform. And again, I feel as though this is going to bring a new level of enthusiasm for life into your experience as you build upon that and build that trust within yourself. And once you start to see how strong you truly are, how much power you truly have, because I feel like for some of you, this power has been, being drained from you, and you may have kind of lost sight of that. Yeah, you cannot make this up. You have the Queen of Wands here, so more fire energy. A lot of it. You have the Eight of Wands, Queen of Wands, we have the Sun, we have Leo, we have fire. Lots of fire energy here. This is Aries energy, so you could be dealing with an Aries as well. But with the Queen of Wands in the reverse, this is that it's lacking that self-assurance, lacking that confidence, lacking that energy, right? This would be an energy of like insecurity. It can even be jealousy or selfishness, right? So, I feel as though September may be a month of what I might say like exposure for you, in the sense that there could be a lot of things that are exposed, that the veil is being lifted on, that you may have had a different outlook on in the past, but are now seeing very clearly. And this could be maybe where there are people in your life who are, maybe a bit selfish, jealous, very insecure in themselves. And as you start to trust yourself and gain confidence, gain courage, determination, and follow your passions and your joys, I feel as though, again, you're going to be gaining that clarity on what needs to take place in order for you to get into alignment, in order for you to have that stability and structure, right? Especially around your purpose and your literal, like your life, right? The sun is that life force. For some of you, you could actually be dealing with your mother or a mother figure. This could be something connected with that individual, though that doesn't, if it's not, that doesn't mean this reading is not for you, or that this part of the reading is not for you. I just feel as though that could be very possible. But more specifically, or rather on another side of this, for those of you that don't resonate with that, I feel as though integrating this information here, or the information that you receive as you slow down and listen and get quiet, is, I feel like it could bring more stability, again, that enthusiasm for life, that glow for you. It could help to, because as you trust yourself, you're not so, you feel more secure in who you are, right? You have more courage within, if that makes sense. And so I feel like this is something that could be shifting for you as you integrate what you learn, or if you integrate what you learn. So the wisdom your angels, guides, ancestors, spirit, source, the universe, and God most want to share with you as you move forward is, wow, the age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes. So I find it fascinating you have these two kind of triangle energies showing up here, right? Previously with the fire and now with the age of light. I mean, which is also very interesting because, of course, um, all things related to fire, if we're looking at that, one of those things is light. And you do have the sun as well. But I feel as though the wisdom that most wants to be shared with you here is like, you have everything you need to be able to do what you need to do, to be able to lay the foundations for that divine plan, right? To seed the light. You have everything you need. You have been training for this for lifetimes. And some of you may even feel that. You may have even said that you feel like an old soul, or maybe others have called you an old soul. Maybe you have felt like you've reincarnated several times. Maybe you feel like you are far more wise than what you give yourself credit for, or maybe far more wise than how others see you. But I feel as though, there's this desire for you to be aware of and acknowledge that you are far more powerful than what you believe yourself to be, and far more wise than what you believe yourself to be, because you have been training for this for lifetimes, right? You also have here moon, void of course, disconnect, withdraw, reception. So I feel as though part of the guidance here for you, or the wisdom that's trying to be shared here, is, hey, listen, if you disconnect and withdraw from some of these things that are pulling on your energy, that are distracting you, that are not allowing you to step fully into your power and open yourself up, that is when you are going to have that wisdom drop in, that aha, that, oh, this is what's happening, right? I feel like that is where you are going to, how would I say, this is where the potential lies. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like if you keep being distracted, and if you continue to allow people to just drain your energy, and refuse to get quiet, refuse to get still, I feel as though these things are going to be that much harder to connect with. But if you pull away, right, you disconnect, you withdraw, and you open yourself up, I feel as though you're going to have a lot of epiphanies happening. Okay, so very, very interesting energies there. You also have Five of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, this is in the reverse, and that is that energy of, essentially, you have far more resources, knowledge, and power available to you than what you believe or have believed in the past. Okay, and this is the wisdom that's wanting to be shared with you. That there's a need here, or a desire here, like I was saying, for you to acknowledge the truth, your deep truth, your soul's truth. Okay, and a part of that is, again, that you have far more available to you than what you may have imagined. This is a time for you to kind of reconnect with that, to essentially take the key, which is you, and unlock the door, right? Open that baby up, okay? I mean, sure, you may face some adversity, some conflict, and even some instability, okay? But you are the key. You have the power to open the door. And I feel like this is what this is the wisdom that's wanting to be shared with you. This is what, how would I say, um hopefully is encouraging you to kind of take the bull by the horns, Taurus, and to step forward confidently and powerfully. Of course, that may take time, but this is all pointing to that, being open to receiving the truth. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have the Four of Cups here as well. And in the reverse, like this, it is that energy of accepting the truth, right? Um, Not denying what you've been made aware of, right? This is awareness of yourself. And I mean, really, it's choosing happiness, right? Choosing what is meant for you, what ignites that fire within you, right? And it's interesting because as I lay these on the table, we will have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse kind of looking to the past, and the Four of Cups kind of looking to the future. And I feel as though, that whole idea of being without, or, not being able to move, or being trapped, or not having enough, or, being ostracized or out in the cold, that's in the past, because you discover that you are the key, and acknowledge or accept that about yourself, and choose to move toward the future, choosing happiness. I'm getting lots of fear coming up with this, though. So, do know that anytime that we step out of our comfort zone, there's going to be some fear there. And, God has a funny way of doing that. God has a funny way of, putting us on this path where things feel very uncertain, where things feel very unstable, and where, we are scared out of our minds. But once we face that, beautiful, incredible things start to happen. So the final wisdom to be shared with you, it's funny enough, there is a bird on the front of this card, and it says take flight. The final message is, dear you, there is always more than one side to an argument, two sides, if not more, to every story, and hundreds of ways to be right, be different, be at odds, and so on. Today, we suggest that instead of looking for differences, you find a meeting place of agreement and approach this experience with understanding and compassion. Seek common ground to understand how another person thinks, or how an alternate plan might be laid. Stay out of judgment too. Observe, discern, but accept that others have different stories, experiences, and journeys, and some people might refuse to remain open to another's point of view. No matter what you've been presented with, a great opportunity to explore a new way of doing things once common ground is reached. You're attracting people and situations that enrich your life and bring you wonderful things to learn. We love you so much. So it's quite fascinating to me, because this pretty much encompasses everything that I've talked about, in regards to how this may be about, certain situations or relationships with people, and how, you may express yourself in a certain way and then feel as though you're going to be persecuted, or perhaps they do, persecute you, judge you, argue, create conflict, whatever the story. But here's the thing. I feel as though this card has come out to say, there may be people who have a different point of view and they may refuse to remain open to yours. However, that doesn't mean that they're bad. That doesn't mean that they are evil or mean or any of those sorts of things. I have come to find that one of the best ways to look at it isn't as though they're wrong, but rather that they are limited. And that's not from a judgmental place, it's just from a very truthful place, in the sense that someone else's perspective may be limited in comparison to yours because they haven't learned that lesson yet. They haven't been taken down that path. So where there may be energies here where or something here where people are, depleting your energy, sucking you dry, using you, betraying you, whatever the story is, it may simply be because from their limited perspective, they can't see what they're doing. Right? And so, again, it is up to you to observe, be discerning, and to make the choices that are needed. Perhaps that's boundaries in order for you to be most in alignment with what is best for you and your journey, your path. So it seems as though, Taurus, that this month could be one of some big decisions for you and some clarity coming through, certainly to help you to make those decisions. I pray that something here has been helpful for you or valuable for you in some way, shape, or form as you move through the month of September. If something here has resonated for you, please do the YouTube things by liking, sharing, commenting below, or subscribing. It really does help the channel to grow, and I truly, truly appreciate you doing any of those things. Have a beautiful, expansive, enlightening month. Take care of your courageous, wise, strong, powerful soul. Peace be with you and within you. And I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye.